Welcome back, everyone, to another live stream repair. Let's see. We're going to start things off with a brick HomePod. Let me go grab my dongle. Alright. What will our luck be today? We have got quite a few bricks to take a look at here today. I'm hoping I won't have to spare any logic boards here today. Okay. This is how we do it. We're going to flip this guy upside down. Actually, before we jump into that, let's just go ahead and confirm our symptoms here. If I'm not mistaken, this one is a brick, so it'll turn on, but this is about all it'll do. Might blink the volume buttons too, but let's see. Yep, blinking volume lights. So while that's getting ready for itself, we'll go ahead and take this off. Make sure all of that's nice and flat. Usually takes about 60 seconds before it will give us the blinkies. There they are. Let's protect that top. I want to get it all scratched up. And we will attach our Fancy Pants dongle dock. Put a couple of screws in for good measure. Where did the other one go? There it is. I had someone saying that their holes in their dock started to mushroom out. I wouldn't advise tightening those down super tight just until you feel them flush with the adapter. You don't gotta torque it down, it's not gonna help anything, it just needs to keep it in one spot. Let's get this out. And I will pull our screen up. Boop-a-doo. Where's my interaction button? There it is. I think this is pretty neat. Then I can just add a VNC source to OBS and VNC right into my MacBook. Kind of bonkers, if you ask me. Alright. Let's plug our USB cable in. let's plug our power in, and let's see what it does for us. Gaster pwn, Gaster reset. I'm gonna go to where my IPSW is, and we're gonna run iDevice restore. Excuse me. Here we go. Let's see what it does. Let's see what it do. Let's see where it goes. Give me a good restore. And I know all of this is working because I was testing it just this morning. There were a few people that opted to have their HomePod reset and updated before I send it back to them. I knocked a few of those out this morning. Well. Is it doing it? We're past the waiting for NAND stage, so it looks like it's taking the restore. What a great way to start the stream. Very nice, very nice, very nice. It's going, it's going. Okay. Dare I try to put all of this to the side and let it work its thing while we pull out another HomePod and try to multitask here? I don't feel like it. We're not in a rush. Feel free to ask whatever you want in the chat there. We'll be here for a minute waiting for this to restore. What's going on? What's going on outside? We got traffic, we got rain, we got some shmoo on one of the cameras, it looks like. Jeez. Need to get that fixed. It's chugging along. It's going rather fast, this one is, so I would assume it must have bricked itself on a more recent operating system. And just because it restores successfully for us via software now doesn't mean it was just a software issue. It still has to pass our testing, which is essentially setting it up with our phone to our test home, waiting for it to finish configuring. We verify it finishes configuring through the home app, of course. And then we do a factory reset, and then we let it sit overnight, and then we basically do the same thing again the next day. And if it's a hardware issue, that usually catches problems. Unfortunately, I still get like 1 in 10-ish, 1 out of every 10 of these that take a software restore, or heck, even when we replace the whole logic board. It's not a perfect score there. I still get ones that I have to take back a few weeks later. But you know, short of keeping everybody's HomePods for weeks at a time just to test to make sure it doesn't break itself again, I'll take the loss here and there to get people's HomePods back sooner than later, as long as everybody seems generally happy with the whole process. What's your success rate with software restores versus hardware? Welcome to the chat, David. Welcome back. Let me think about that for a sec, because it can throw me off thinking about it and giving an off-the-cuff answer, because it it seems like it varies, week by week. I might get a week where we just have nothing but perfect scores and they all take USB restores and I never see them again. And then it feels like some weeks it's just nothing but strikeouts and I gotta replace logic boards, and then even the replacement logic board ends up bricking itself after a few weeks and I gotta have it shipped back to me. It sucks, but that's the cost of running a business the way we run it, and I'm proud to run it this way still. So, what is the success rate? I would have to put it at about 60 to 70% roughly for every HomePod that has apparent software issues. It works just fine with a USB restore thereafter. It is a pretty good rate, but it still does, even 1 out of 10 that we have to take back, it still stings enough to suck. We're 56% of the way through. Very good. It looks like there's no stopping this one. It's going to work. The only question left is, does Chrisman want maintenance on this? Or do they want to risk it for that software-only biscuit? We'll test it for a few days just to make sure that there isn't any other problems with it. But they've got two options if this takes the USB-only restore, or the USB restore option. They can get it back for the $20 in shipping, or they can do opt-in for the maintenance. We'll tear it down, and we'll replace a couple of the components that typically fail and cause other issues, and then we'll get it back together, and it'll sound better than new. %, very good. Man, this one's really cruising. Sometimes I'll see, before it gets to showing this progress, sometimes, especially with ones that were bricked on much older operating systems, you can get a fair amount of these, ping pong timeout messages before you actually see a restore progress like this. So, as long as it's not, I would generally say if you're trying this yourself, just once you start it, let it keep going until you get an error and it stops itself. If it keeps saying, received ping command replying with Pong, and then it talks about timeouts, just be patient. Hey, look at that. Talking about being patient, this one's this one's almost done. Looking at a bricked one on eBay, but if you have to get a new logic board, it isn't worth it. Yeah, well, tell you what, I mean, it doesn't matter what's wrong with it. It doesn't matter if you've already tried a software restore and you've confirmed it's a hardware brick. I buy bricked HomePod. I buy any broken HomePod for $60, and I send you the label for it too. I always need the parts for more of them, and I got pressured. I've been pressured into selling refurbished ones again, so I really always need the parts for putting more together. But in any case, if it doesn't cost, if they're asking a reasonable price, then you might not lose any money if it doesn't work out for you and you sell it back to us. You got to be a little careful. I imagine there's going to be more of these popping up on eBay for parts of repair, and people are going to neglect to disclose that they already tried a USB restore. So they're just going to list it as a blinking volume buttons HomePod and not mention the fact that they already tried a USB restore. I'm a little worried about that, but I would say, if you purchase a broken HomePod for parts or repair with blinking volume buttons or some other software issue, and they did not disclose that it was, they didn't disclose that they already tried to restore it via USB like we're doing here. The telltale signs, obviously, of somebody having attempted a restore on this and determined it is a hardware failure is whether the base has been removed or not. It's stuck on to the bottom with a little bit of foam, and this foam, it's no longer in one piece, obviously, once you take it off, and even when you put it back on, it looks fine, but it's obvious once you start trying to peel the base off if it's been taken off before. And if it has been taken off before, you can reasonably assume that somebody has already tried a USB restore. Even then, let's say you bought a blinking HomePod for parts or repair off eBay. The seller didn't disclose that someone had tried a USB restore and determined it was a hardware issue. All they said was blinking volume buttons. So you get it, and you go to take the base off, and you notice that it was clearly already taken off before. It was way too easy to take off. Just because of all of that doesn't mean it was the person that sold it to you that tried it. So it's very possible that the person that sold it on eBay was given that HomePod and does not know that the person that gave it to them already tried the same thing. So there's unfortunately a bit of plausible deniability there for people selling broken ones on eBay. They can just basically feign ignorance. And on the flip side, though, we're playing flippies. But on the flip side of that, generally eBay tends to side with the buyer whenever there's a case opened. But personally, I just wouldn't bother, be it hardware or software, when I got one if I found evidence that they had tried something and not disclosed it. As long as I got a good deal on it, that's all I care about. Alright, so this one, we've got a restore finished. Absolutely excellent. So that means this one took a USB restore. Now, of course, we will test it over the next few days, and we're going to give Crispin the option of maintenance and what have you. There we go. Let's get this MacBook out of here. Shoot. For the diode replacement on a Gen 1, there's a component to the left. What happens if that gets ripped off the board? Alright, well, just to wrap Crispin's up, that one looks to be working for now. It doesn't have any significant popping that I notice either, so chances are, if they just want to get it back as is, it should work for a long time coming. But if they want the peace of mind, we've got it here for them. Okay. Let's check in on our emails, because there was one that got sent in that I wasn't sure if they wanted live streamed or not, and they've been waiting their due time for it to get done, so Let's see if they've responded. If not, we'll keep an eye out, but let's see. How long did that take? 20 minutes? About 20 minutes? Alright, hey. Alright, we heard back from them. They said, do the repair. I'm not a video guy. Alright, well, we'll go ahead and put them in the background for now then. No big deal. Let's move on to Josh's then. If I'm not mistaken, Josh sent this HomePod in for maintenance. So let's shoot them a link to watch. We'll dig into it. Doobity doo, doobity ba ba. Don't look at that. Where are you? Where are you? There you are. And sent. Okay. Oh, I am so sorry. John, welcome to the chat. I started answering your question and then I stopped. If that component, if that little capacitor to the left of your diode goes missing, you absolutely need to find a way to get it back on there. And if you ripped the pads off, there is a way around it. Shoot me an email, nick@nicksfix.com. Tell me what's going on. Shoot me some decent photos of what you've got going on there. I have encountered this multiple times before with other people, and I've already drawn up like a little image of what you can do if you destroyed and or lost the pads for that teeny tiny little capacitor next to the Schottky diode. Essentially, you just get yourself a physically larger capacitor so that it's easier to work with, and you run a trace wire, one to the step-down converter and one to, I believe, the bottom of the Schottky diode. And it's frankly way easier for most people to just pop a new one, a bigger one on there like that, as opposed to even if they lose the tiny cap and they still have the pads there. People tend to find it easier. All right, enough rambling. I hope that gave you some insight, enough to take some action. Let's see how good or bad Josh's is before we touch it. All right, it doesn't really sound bad right now, but we've seen what happens when things go bad, and it is absolutely not a bad idea to stay ahead of that stuff. So let's I'll show you what happens here. Let's get this top off first. Gotta be careful once we do the first pass. This is gonna want to slip right out and cut our hand off, so and we want to keep this tool level with the top. Ugh. Alright, now we can get this unscrewed. Do I sell subwoofers? Are they not on my shop? Oh no. Oh, I did take them off. I do have subwoofers, but I'm very, very low in stock on them. So I think that's why I took them off the site for now. But if you shoot me an email, I'll make you an offer. It might not be the best offer, but I'll try to make it cheaper than buying a whole parts HomePod. On the flip side of that, I do try to encourage people that work on their own HomePods to indeed buy parts pods for themselves. That way they don't end up, you know, what usually happens is somebody will attempt to do work on their own HomePod and break one thing, and they'll ask to buy it from me. They'll pay for it, get it, and then they'll find that it wasn't you know, they either couldn't fix what was going on and they kind of gave up and wasted the money on the part that they ended up not using anyways, or B, they end up breaking something else along the way, getting it apart or back together, and they end up needing, you know, more and more parts from us. And I price my parts at the point where I at least don't lose money, especially as parts HomePods just kind of dwindle in supply and prices creep up for them and kind of get closer to how much it is just for a used working one. Jeez. But anyways, we'll see what we can work out. Basically, it's not going to be cheaper in the long run if you need more than just what you think you need. And I always encourage people to just get their own parts pods. That way, they've got a whole set of spare parts for anything they might encounter. In the long run, it works out better. But I'm here as a last resort. If you really need it. Interesting. If you have one with base that cuts in and out, I would stop using it in case the subwoofer speaker is still good. But from what I've usually seen, if it's outright cutting in and out, then it's more likely some kind of issue on the amplifier that isn't actually affecting the subwoofer. It's just cutting the volume for it. Oh geez, I really need some isopropyl alcohol. Hold on here. Let's see, will this work? %? Alright. That'll do. And it smells great too. A little mess is okay. Alright, just a little bit of isopropyl alcohol here to help work the glue holding this basket down loose. It seems to be putting up one heck of a fight. Where was I? Yeah, bass cutting out. The subwoofer speaker usually is fine, and it's some other random issue on the amplifier, and it's sometimes not even related to those filters, albeit if you're taking it apart, replace them while you can. But there we go. Hey, this stuff works pretty good. We're gonna be all right. I've seen amplifier issues where the subwoofer speaker is perfectly fine, but the bass cuts in and out as it gets too hot. There's a component somewhere on there that's not tolerating operating temperature and failing under such conditions. Usually, the subwoofer speaker is still good with ones like that. But on the flip side, it tends to be one that I can't figure out on the spot, and we gotta table it for future exploration. In any case, when you get it apart, it's usually very obvious if a bass speaker, if the subwoofer is damaged. You can look at its voice coil. It should be a nice copper color. You can see it through the inspection port. I've got photos on my website, of course, but you can. It's usually obvious when a bass speaker is bad, and I wouldn't jump on getting a replacement until you know for sure it is. All right. We are in. Let's see what we're dealing with here. We do have a 48K dated Schottky diode. So those are the ones that we normally see failing and causing no power. So it's a good thing that we're here and we've got it apart, because that will fail eventually. And then here, we'll go ahead and knock these out first, are our fart filters. These are ceramic capacitors that are supposed to filter unwanted DC voltage as the audio signal goes through the amp and gets amplified. What happens, since these are ceramic capacitors, they all naturally decay over time and lose their effectiveness at removing DC voltage. So in this particular application, that will lead to a nasty audio signal that triggers death farts and unwanted restarts on the HomePod, and it'll fry the bass speaker while it's at it. Get a little bit of flux on there to remove the corrosion that pretty much instantly happens when solder is exposed to oxygen. More specifically copper, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, why is our iron not on? That's strange. Give that a sec to warm up. Are we there yet? Nope. We're getting there. There we go. My iron. What is it doing? Let's try that again. Probably just needed another second to really soak in the heat. No, what is going on here? There we go. Haha. Oof. Putting up a fight, huh? Let's get some new filters on there. All right. We got those on there nice and well. Let's flip that around and take out that diode before it takes this HomePod out. So these diodes fail because of a quality control issue with the diode itself. It's not like it's underrated or anything. They just had something funny in their water when they were making these 2 weeks worth of diodes, I guess. Scoot that off. Alright. That is one worthy HomePod again. Let's get this back together, and if I'm not mistaken, this Josh wanted to snag one of our refurbished HomePods while we still sell them. So they'll be getting 2 HomePods back. And let me tell you, if you have not experienced a stereo pair yet, it is phenomenal. I love it. I've got 4 stereo pairs in my office here with me just by themselves. Oh man, when I bought my first HomePod, and that was already game over, but I got my hands on the second one, and that just absolutely worth it. And then you get a couple dozen of them and throw them around the house. You got yourself a whole home party. There's just something about having continuity when I'm walking around the house doing busy work. Puts you in a good mood. And I far prefer it to headphones. I like headphones, but I'll always prefer just speakers over headphones. Because one of my ears is bigger than the other, so earbuds physically feel different, and that's enough to displease me and distract me from a listening experience. But over-ear headphones are pretty much the only tolerable headphones that I can wear. I don't like on-ear or earbuds. On-ear just has too many drawbacks, and for the size, you might as well just get the benefits and go over-ear. Blah, 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 whatever. To each their own, though. I probably use headphones once, like a couple of times a month, really. Ah. There we go. Pro tip, if you're working on these yourself, when you're going to put this retaining ring back in, we figured out, who was it? I think it was Nighthawk in my Discord server pointed out that when you put this back in, obviously you want to clock it 90 degrees counterclockwise to set it in and then rotate it back to line up with the ribbon cable. But also, if you rotate it too far the other way, it's going to screw itself into this microphone board and break this chip off. And it only takes a few centimeters the wrong way to do that. So, one more time for you guys doing these yourself. You're going to pop the ring in with the notch lined up with the ribbon cable. And then you're going to rotate it counterclockwise until it settles down like you saw there. About 90, 100 degrees counterclockwise. And then you're going to rotate it so this notch lines back up with the ribbon cable. But no further. If you go further, you break chips off of that microphone board. And you have a bad time. You're emailing me for parts. So that's in there. Let's get this put back together. That's your fair warning if you work on these yourself. I do need to put out an updated, like, how-to video for working on your own HomePod. Because, yeah, the original video has saved a lot of people's HomePods and it's done its work. We've also learned a few tips after working on a few thousand of them since making that video. When we made that video, I think we only did a few dozen of them. And it's kind of crazy to look back at it and think that we I don't know. It's just wild to look back at it. Just never thought we'd be doing these many consistently all these years later still. I thought we might get a couple a week. No, dude, we get a couple a day. It's insane. It's consumed my free time. But you know, I'll use it while I can afford it. And I guess in I guess in this economy you kind of have to work 2 jobs if you want to get ahead in any way. If you don't get lucky with the job you got. And I mean, that's not to say that my day job isn't great as it is. I get great pay, I get great benefits, but the cost of living and having fun just keeps going up every year. Doesn't matter who's in charge, it's just an inevitable fact. And, you know, getting a house is just getting harder. That's the big goal. Own property so that we can really expand and do whatever we want. Oh, and it sucks to talk to my neighbors because they're always like, yeah, and you know how much I bought my house for? 50 grand. Paid it off and with 2 years worth of salary. Man, I'm in the I'm middle class where I live. Considered, like, if you look at my income and the area I live in and the cost of living, I'm considered middle income. And I just could not fathom a $200,000 house, give or take, anywhere in this, in this whole area. Blows my mind. But looks like the wife is home. Bear with us for 1 second. I'm gonna go help her bring stuff in, and then we'll come right back to this. Okay. Thanks for hanging out. We're back. Let's wrap this one up. Alright, if we did everything right, nothing should have changed. Actually, it'll sound a little better now that we've got the that crappy old foam gasket replaced with the nice solid rubber one here. Very good, still works. All right. Who is next? James. Let's see here. All right, James looks like they've got no power. We're gonna add Dario and I think it's Chris. Let me double check here. Yeah, Chris. We're gonna add them here. They for one reason or another, not seemingly fully intentional. They ticked the no repair or the no live stream option. I give people the option if they don't want us to live stream their repair for whatever reason, but it's, you know, it doesn't really change anything for us here, and I think everybody enjoys watching, even if it's the same thing. Well, let's break James's out. If we are not mistaken. Yep, no lights, no power, and about 4 to 6 watts at the wall. Y'all know what that means. It's the usual dead diode, of course. Let's get this taken apart. I'm gonna make it easy on ourselves this time and warm the top up. Don't go crazy with the heat on this. A good rule of thumb is if it's getting too hot for your hand, it's getting too hot for that plastic and fabric. There we go. Let's make sure those volume buttons are unobstructed. We want them to shine nice and bright, nice and even. We don't want it to look like there's crap under the screen. I might have a little bit of OCD. A little bit of OCD is okay, though. Just a little. Even with an electric screwdriver, your hand gets sore. Place first. All my homies hate this glue. Alright, first up, let's knock out some maintenance. Let's get those filters replaced. There we go. You know, the microscope is nice and all, but frankly, I still find my naked eye to be more of a truth teller when it comes to looking at these things. At least for now. I'll use it while I got it.
Connecting to the internet.
Very nice. All right, let's move on to Mark. You guessed it, they got no power. Here it is. Who'd have guessed? Another first gen with no power, a couple of watts at the wall. That's gonna be another dead diode. James, didn't realize you were lurking around. Glad you could stop by and watch the ritual. We'll follow up with you after our stream, of course, so you can get your HomePod back. Okay. Sometimes those can really kick your butt getting off. Okay.
having trouble connecting to the internet. For more info, check the home line.
Okay.
I'm having trouble connecting to the I'm having trouble.
All right. Mark looks good. Here it is. All right, let's see what we've got here. If I'm not mistaken, this one's a brick. Yes, indeed. All right, looks like we're breaking the Mac back out. Here we go. Let's get this base off. All right. Into the Mac. Let's get a fresh terminal session started. Here we go. Gaster Pwn. Gaster reset. iDevice restore. Will it take it? Will it work? No, it will not. Device failed to enter restore mode. That is certainly a hardware failure, unfortunately, on this HomePod. will not be able to do a mere software restore on this one. Can't win them all. If you want a winner, you can skip back to the beginning of our repair stream. The very first bricked home pod we looked at took a restore without a problem. Unfortunately, this one will need a little more work if they want to get it fixed, so we'll let them know their options. And let's see. I think that's about all the time that we've got for here and now. We don't just have Chris's, we've got a few others here that are still waiting to get fixed, but I'm about all out of energy for now, and I gotta find something to eat. So I hope you all enjoyed this live stream repair, and I will catch you in the next one.